Hello, everybody, and welcome to the IACT Winter Warm-Up Series presented by GossCars.com. Tonight, it is the Goss Dodge Chrysler Ram North Wilkesboro 150 at North Wilkesboro Speedway. The IACT Winter Warm-Up Series is brought to you by GossCars.com and by the RKM Setup Shop. Good evening, everybody. I am Nick Mumley, and alongside me in our virtual broadcast booth is Michael Stridesberg. And Michael, we have a good one on tap here today. Big race, 150 laps around North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Indeed, the historic North Wilkesboro Speedway, first built way back in 1947. And here in 2025, we are hitting the halfway point of the GossCars.com IACT season. Race number 4 on the calendar, as you see the flagman wave the checkered flag to end practice. 150 big ones. Remember, it was a great show at the season finale last year, and I can't wait to see what's in store tonight.
Absolutely. As you can see, heat number 1 getting ready on the grid as we get ready to bring you tonight qualifying action for the 150 lap feature later on this evening, letting the field get gridded up here as you see everybody finding their way into the session. And Michael, let's go through tonight's Heat 1 starting lineup.
Indeed, starting on the pole, first time out the season, and by random draw, he's on the point. Car number 92, that is J.J. Goodboo out of Lincoln, New Hampshire. Alongside him in the pole lumber number 45, the reigning GossCars.com IACT champion, Casey Beatty. Starting on the inside of row number 2, it looks like it's going to be the 3 of Mike McCaskill alongside number 3 point man. You see the 31 of Logan Powers. Then we have Luke Shannon in the 13 looking to bounce back after a rough outing last week. The 21 is David Weir. The 70, Brock Rouse. The 9, Jason Ricker, who had a very strong run last week. And Brian Rogers Jr. will ride shotgun in car number 12. 15 laps to set the inside row for tonight's Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler 150.
Should be a good one. 15 laps in distance as J.J. Goodboo and Casey Beatty getting ready to lead us to green here in one more lap. Michael, what are you looking for from tonight's race at North Wilkesboro?
This is a race where you've got to be patient. 150 laps around a 5/8 mile oval for these guys is a long race. One set of tires in the pit area, and North Wilkesboro in the virtual configuration is a track that can eat up tires fast. So you've got to be patient. You've got to save your stuff, and you might need a little luck in terms of when the cautions come. But we will find out as they come to the green here in heat number 1.
And we are racing. Goodboo down into turn number 1. Barrels it down in there. Logan Powers looking to fill the spot left by that 92 car. Casey Beatty thinks about making it 3 wide on the opening lap. Thinks better as they head on down back to the front straightaway. It's Goodboo with the lead and a side-by-side fight for second.
Field already scrambling here in this first 15-lap qualifying heat. Looking for positions, looking for points as we see Dave Weir slap the wall coming out of turn 2. Up ahead of him, 3 cars under a blanket for the top spot. Goodboo leads it, and then it's Powers and Beatty door-to-door for the runner-up position.
What a fight this is for second place on the racetrack. Casey Beatty in the white 45. He's topside. Logan Powers in the red 31. He is down low. Both of them chasing after J.J. Goodboo, the strictly mini competitor over at White Mountain Motorsports Park. 12 laps to go in heat number 1, and Goodboo leads the way.
We go to the GossCars.com blimp being piloted tonight by Brian Hoare. That's why he is not on the track. He is up in the sky taking a look at things overhead, virtual North Wilkesboro. You see J.J. Goodboo stretching it out by a car length or 2 here as these two continue to fight side by side. And behind them, Lukey Shannon is up to the 4th spot in the number 13 machine.
Shannon making his way up through the field as we see Logan Powers, the inside line, finally prevails for car number 31. But Casey Beatty is going to try to bring it back down now with 10 laps to go in the heat. He and Powers now changing positions, and there's contact down the back straightaway. They're both squirrely out of control, and into turn 3, they'll gather it back up, but Goodboo is checked out. He's got the lead now with 9 to go.
They were on the edge there, Nick, and just about went careening over. Everybody, though, able to sort it out. They'll continue to go side by side for second, and behind them, we also have a side-by-side battle shaping up for the 4th spot as Jason Ricker is on the charge in the number 9.
Yeah, how about that 9 machine? Jason Ricker led over 50 laps last week at in the race at Michael. I'm blanking on where we were racing last. South Boston, the Sobo Shootout. My goodness. Yeah, we're firing on all cylinders to begin tonight's broadcast, obviously. But Ricker had such a good run last week at Sobo, nearly won the thing, fell back late. We saw Richie Murray fall back late at Hickory, come back and win at South Boston. Who knows what could happen tonight for Jason Ricker, but he's established himself as one of the drivers to beat right now in IACT.
Indeed, and he is starting to close in. You can see on the number 31 of Logan Powers looking for that 3rd spot as we are coming to 5 laps to go. JJ Goodboo has checked out. You can see on the ticker, the side of the screen, the first race bug has bitted again. That will be sorted out soon, but it is Goodboo your leader. Casey Beatty in second, then Powers, Jason Ricker, and Luke Shannon under attack from Mike McCaskill in the 3. We'll head back to that battle for the number 5 spot.
Shannon in the 13 controls the spot for now. Mike McCaskill, Brock Rouse, both trying to give it a chase. But Shannon has moved his way up through the field. McCaskill dipping just a little bit in the number 3 machine. Now facing a challenge from Brock Rouse in the 70 here as they're coming around to get 3 to go.
Indeed, Mike McCaskill looking to bounce back from a rough outing last week. Didn't end up making the feature, but made a charge there early. Now seems content to feel out this 3 and make it to the main event. And may have to fight a little harder, though, because Brock Rouse is challenging him coming up on 2 laps to go here at North Wilkesboro.
You see McCaskill got the lip down there in turn 3 and 4. Shot that number 3 car up the racetrack. Rouse now goes underneath, looking to sneak the nose of that number 70 machine in there to take the spot away. Coming now to 2 laps to go, or coming to the white flag, rather, as JJ Goodboo looking for the Heat Race 1 victory.
Indeed, and we'll head back up there because Casey Beatty is catching the 92 of Goodboo. He may run out of time, though. Gives it a bit in turn number 3, but coming to the checkered flag, heat number 1 is going to go to JJ Goodboo in the number 92. Casey Beatty in second, then Powers, Ricker, Shannon, and McCaskill in Heat 1 to set the inside row for tonight's Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler 150.
Well, if Heat 1 was any indication, we're going to have some good racing for you later on tonight in the 150-lap feature. Now time for the second of 3 heats on the day. As we take a look, Nathan Wenzel starting out on the pole in the number 03 to his outside, Bob Eldred in the Mind Warp 13. Bob's been on a tear lately in IACT, looking to get the win this week. Aiden Young will start 3rd in the 69. Then it's Flying Tiger competitor over at Thunder Road, Ty Delphia starting 4th in the CDR Concrete Chevrolet. Matt Smith is in the 04 as usual. He gets a better draw this week, all the way up in 5th starting position tonight. And then to his outside, it looks like it's going to be, as he comes around here, the 0 car, the Squire Cup champion in 2024, Scott Dragon. There in the 0, Matt Smith in the 4, and then to his outside it is Kyle Goodboo, and then bringing up the tail, last week's winner, the first-time winner on the IACT series, it's Richie Murray from Seekonk in the number 08 Chevrolet. So Michael, 1 lap to go here before we get going for heat race number 2.
Indeed, and in the middle there, Nick, we do have the 04 of Justin Prescott as well, starting in the 5th spot. Yeah, you had a little Matt Smith there moment. I know it's Matt Smith, the former driver of that car, but no harm, no foul. Getting ready here, Nathan Wenzel, the former New Hampshire NASCAR state champion and the co-point leader, Bob Eldred in the 13. And the other co-point leader, Ryan Kuhn, elected not to make the call for tonight's event. So Bob Eldred trying to put himself in position to make a run for the championship here as we go green in Heat 2.
And we are underway. Eldred on the outside, Wenzel down low as they fight off of turn number 2 and down the backstretch for the first time. Bob Eldred in the 13 looking to gain an advantage, but Wenzel runs him a little bit high up the racetrack. Then Wenzel catches the lip there off of turn number 3, runs him up the racetrack again. They're side by side. Wenzel's going to slide up in front. Eldred's going to try the crossover move, and they might be 3 wide down the back.
Aiden Young backs out of it in the 69 as Bob Eldred swaps lanes and goes to the point in the number 13. Wenzel will try to hang on the outside, drives it deep into turn number 1, but it is Bob Eldred, the co-point leader, on the top. Wenzel now going to say, if it's good for you and good for me, try for the crossover as well.
Oh, and he slides. He hit the lip again in turn number 3. Loses a ton of ground. Tydelphia is going to shoot the top side now. He's up to second. Wenzel tucks in side by side for P2 as Eldred now rides away. But Tydelphia making some serious gains in the number 13.
Tydelphia looking to finish what he started. So far this season has been strong in the early part of races, but not able to finish the job. Running well here tonight, goes wheel to wheel with the 03 of Nathan Wenzel as the 13 of Eldred starts to pull away. They are 2 by 2 behind him as well. Aiden Young in the 69 and the 04 Justin Prescott going at it for 4th place.
Prescott moving up top there on Aiden Young as this fight for second rages on with 10 laps to go. Bob Eldred loves to see it. He's just driving away. Nate Wenzel still's got a little bit of a handful in that 03 car as he slides it into turn number 3. Delphia stays with him on the top side. Young might have control of 4th at the moment as Prescott slides up top.
Indeed, from second on back, it is close quarters action here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Wenzel secures the second spot in the 03. Aiden Young looks to fill the hole on the inside of Tydelphia. The strictly stock mini competitor from the White Mountain Motorsports Park having another solid outing early as he keeps the fender underneath the 13 machine.
Aiden Young looking to grab another position here as the field runs side by side. Nate Wenzel's away with second. Young trying to sneak away third from Delphia. Delphia was pedaling that top lane earlier on. Can't get it to work now. Now might slide down to the inside. Get in front of Aiden Young as we ride on board here. Coming around 6 laps to go in heat number 2. And the racing is intense here back in the field behind Bob Eldred.
Matt Smith giving us these shots from inside the 4 machine as he watches the 69 ahead of him. Tydelphia was able to secure the 3rd spot, and he will try to remount the charge on the 03 of Nathan Wenzel as Bob Eldred, the co-point leader, out for a country cruise in that 13 machine, trying to pick up the win, the outside pole, and the 10 points to go towards the 2025 IACT Championship.
Yeah, and he's in for a good night in terms of championship points. Bob Eldred without the other co-point leader Ryan Kuhn being here tonight. Bob's got a huge opportunity in front of him to make some major gains and take a big point lead out of this race and into the second half of the year. As we see the field starting to spread out just a little bit, no longer side by each all the way around. Now with 3 laps to go, it's Kyle Goodbout in the 17 pulling underneath Justin Prescott in the 04 machine as they dive back towards turn number 3.
And Richie Murray, last week's winner, has just had no place to pass in the 08 machine. They've been side by side in front of him the whole race, just does not have a lane to go. He is still mired back in that 8th position as they are coming to get the white flag this time.
Yeah, Murray obviously is going to take the EOL penalty, so he'll start at the back anyway from being last week's winner. But so he doesn't really need to push it too hard here as they come around. Bob Eldred down the backstretch and into turn 3 with a 1.4 second lead off turn 4. Bob Eldred takes heat number 2 convincingly. here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway and is now officially the points leader.
Wenzel in second, then Delphia Smith and Kyle Goodbout just edged the out for the fifth spot at the line to get that additional row upwards in the main event. And it is time for a 5-minute warm-up final practice for this event in the setups brought to you by the RKM Setup Shop, right, Nick?
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan Kuhn not here tonight, but he won 2 of the first 3 races of this series. He's providing us with all of the setups for IACT this year through his business, RKM Setup Shops. And, I mean, Michael, we sat there and just watched 2 incredible heat races, side-by-side racing action. We're expecting a lot of the same in the feature. Last week at Sobo, we were talking, these drivers were raving about the setup. All race long, 2 groove racing. Looks like we're going to have similar side-by-side action all night long tonight. I mean, if this is not the best display of why RKM Setup Shop is the place to go for iRacing setups, then what else is? I mean, these setups are putting on great racing, and the cars are setting absolute burners of lap times too. I mean, these guys are flying around this racetrack. So if you're entering into those open setup races on iRacing, get yourself an RKM setup. Get yourself a subscription to them. You're going to go faster. You're going to start winning more and more races literally overnight. Yeah, that's how good these setups are. So go over to RKM Setup Shop and subscribe today and get yourself behind the wheel of one of these just absolutely incredible setups that we've been provided here.
Indeed. Putting on great shows week after week in the GossCars.com IACT Winter Warm-Up Series. And tonight's race, we mentioned, brought to you by Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler, located at 1485 Shelburne Road in South Burlington, Vermont. Whether you're looking for a dependable Ram 1500 for off-roading or everyday driving, a Ram Super Duty work truck, the latest edition of the legendary Dodge Charger, or perhaps a Chrysler Pacifica minivan for the family, you can find them at Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler along with many other vehicles. They are the #1 selling new Ram dealer in New England, and they have the $1,000 new vehicle price guarantee, which means that if you bring in any written offer on a new Dodge, Chrysler, or Ram, and if they can't beat your deal, they will write you a check for the difference up to $1,000. Just part of their customer bill of rights and how they go the extra mile, or tonight, the extra 5/8 mile, as it were, for their customers. So again, visit them at 1485 Shelburne Road over in South Burlington, Vermont. And remember, go, 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 Goss has got it.
Michael, did you see the Ram Truck Super Bowl commercial last night? Those things look sexy. Those are just great looking trucks.
They do. And actually, as a little inside baseball here, as a copywriter, I do a lot of automotive dealership work, and for some reason they keep asking me to write about those new Ram 1500, 2500, 3500. So you know that they are great trucks that they want to get out to the people. If you're in Vermont, you can find one at Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler.
Absolutely. So go check them out. Michael, we're about a minute away from the feature lineup being sent for tonight's race. And yeah, like I said during our hit for RKM Setup Shop, if those heat races were any indication, I think we're going to have a great race here tonight.
Indeed. North Wilkesboro, in this pre-2024 repaving configuration, very much a 2-groove racetrack, especially in these late model stock IACT cars. Ryan Kuhn has given us another great setup. Again, the thing is going to be patience. It may be a lot of fun to race side by side early on and keep battling for a spot, but if you burn the right rear off it and you're on your first set of tires and the caution doesn't come out for another 30 laps, or you've already taken your one set of tires, then it could be in for a hairy long experience. So finding that balance between having some fun, running double wide, getting what you can, but also making sure you have a little something there to challenge as always at the end of the race.
Do you have one of your patented track facts about North Wilkesboro Speedway, or are we foregoing that tonight?
I do. See, as I
Oh, I
mentioned,
knew it.
the track was built back in 1947 by Unix Staley, and it was it was originally a dirt track paved in 1957, but that is not the track fact. The track fact, Nick, is that some people some people may or may not know this, but this track is downhill on the front straightaway and uphill on the back straightaway. And the reason for that is that Unix Staley ran out of money while building the track and literally couldn't afford to get the land graded and level. So that is why it goes uphill in one direction and downhill in the other direction. The turns aren't quite symmetrical, but hey, if it was perfect, it may not be as much fun, and we like it that way.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's made North Wilkesboro such a storied racetrack throughout the years. Is Michael, we have our starting lineup in front of us for tonight's Goss Dodge Chrysler Ram 150 at North Wilkesboro.
Indeed, on the pole after winning Heat 1 is the 92 of J.J. Goodboe, first time out this season, alongside now sole holder of the point leader after winning the second Heat race, the 13 of Bob Eldred.
Then we've got Casey Beatty in the 45 and Nate Wenzel in the 03.
The 31 of Logan Powers, who entered tonight as the number 3-point man, will start in fifth, and alongside Ty Delphia in the 13 Vermont.
Then it is Jason Ricker who led all those laps last week at Sobo. Matt Smith to his outside in the number 4.
Luke Shannon in the 13, strong runner earlier this season, looking to bounce back tonight after a rough outing at South Boston. Then the 17 of Kyle Goodboe will be at his door in the number 10 position.
Then we've got Mike McCaskill in the 3, and to his outside from White Mountain Motorsports Park, it's Aiden Young.
Brock Rouse, Scott Dragon's former crew chief on the Milton Cat American Canadian Tour in car number 70. Then the 04 for the Thunder Road late model winner, Justin Prescott.
After that, here as the field gets going, we got Brian Rogers in the 12, Scott Dragon in the 0, David Weir in the 21, and Richie Murray taking the tail in the number 08, last week's winner, as we get ready to go racing.
Indeed, 150 laps presented to you by Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler at the historic North Wilkesboro Speedway. Pace car heads in, Goodboe on the inside, Eldred on the outside, and we are underway.
They dive into turn number 1. J.J. Goodboe down on the apron. Eldred's going to be able to get away with the advantage. Nate Wenzel there will dive into second. Goodboe's going to give up a couple of positions here in the first couple of turns. Beatty fourth, and Logan Powers holding on to fifth as they complete the first lap.
Indeed, a little contact there between Ricker and Delphia as well back in the pack. They are at racing for the number 6 spot. They get it sorted out up ahead. Casey Beatty on the charge in the 45 goes inside the 92 of Goodboe for the number 3 position.
Casey Beatty making a charge now towards the front. He had a rough showing last week at South Boston, trying to get back into the points chase to defend his championship last year. Going to have to start with a good, solid run tonight. And Logan Powers also going to make the move on Goodboe. He's going to take fourth.
Oh, Goodboe so strong in the heat race, but is fading early here in the main event. Will settle in line the number 5 position. Delphia behind him. Up front, nose to tail for the top spot, the 13 of Eldred, and the 03 of Nathan Wenzel out in front here with 5 laps complete at North Wilkesboro.
Nathan Wenzel staying right in touch with Bob Eldred at this point, trying to get himself in position to make a move for the race lead. We saw him lead a few laps last week at South Boston. We see Mike McCaskill here making a pass on Matt Smith. That's for position number 9, as McCaskill moves that McCaskill Custom Carpentry Chevrolet up here into the top 10.
And drops that naughty list number 4 back into the number 10 spot. Matt Smith, another driver who's had some strong runs in the first half, first two-thirds of races. Having trouble sealing the deal. We can see up front, though, there is a change for the lead. Nathan Wenzel has gone inside the 13 of Eldred. Casey Beatty following through as the point leader hung out to dry in the Mind Warp machine.
Yeah, Bob Eldred giving up some spots now on that top side. Looks like the bottom might be the place to be early on. Eldred's fallen back. So has Goodboo from the top side. So Logan Powers now looking to get himself in a podium position as Casey Beatty sets sail for second. And Nathan Wenzel, he is your race leader in the number 03 machine.
31 Powers entered tonight, the number 3 man in the points, 32 behind Eldred. Effectively the number 2 point man entering tonight, with Ryan Kuhn electing not to make the virtual trip to North Wilkesboro, trying to gain some spots here. Eldred, though, seems to have regrouped in the 13 and is charging on the outside, trying to hold on to that third spot, but still a long way to go in this one.
Logan Powers running third, fresh off of a championship in the INSS Street Stock iRacing League, so he can certainly get it around the racetrack. We saw him running up front all night long at South Boston as well last week. So Logan Powers trying to finish the job here and get himself a victory in the IACT Winter Warm-Up Series.
We are watching that side-by-side battle now from the cockpit of J.J. Goodboo. 13 of Eldred has been able to keep the nose outside just enough so that Powers can't run the line he wants off the turn, I should say. Breaks his momentum just a little bit. Oh, they get really close there, and that allows Powers to finally clear Eldred and assume the number 3 position.
Yeah, it was quite a moment right there as Goodboo almost gets into the back. He drove that thing in deep on Bob Eldred going into the corner. They all get it squared away, and Eldred is going to settle into the 4th position for now. And Michael, I think early on in this race, there's just not a lot of business to be made up on that top side. You got to run the bottom right now. I bet you, though, that top side is going to come in as this race continues.
We've seen that happen at multiple events already this year, where it was very bottom dominant in the heats in the first part of the feature, but as the virtual rubber got laid down, that top side came in. We do see the 17 of Kyle Goodboo giving it a shot there, but so far nothing doing. We're only 10% of the way through this one, Nick, so again, very much a long distance race. Driver's going to have to practice some patience and try and let this one come to them to a certain degree.
You look back there in 12th position. Richie Murray did not make up a lot of ground in the heat race. He knew he had to take the EOL, but he's already up to position number 12 on the racetrack in just 16 laps. Murray is making the hay in the 08 as he looks for his next target, the 70 machine of Brock Rouse.
And Murray entered tonight 4th in the standings, just 1 point behind Logan Powers, 5 ahead of Luke Shannon. And it may seem strange to be talking about points, but if you're just joining us, this event again does mark the halfway point of the GossCars.com IACT season. Richie Murray definitely lost some ground to Powers and Eldred in that heat race, trying to scoop his way through the field here, gaining on the 70 of Rouse. Up ahead, you can see the 4 of Matt Smith looking to go back to work on the 3 of Mike McCaskill.
Yeah, things starting to tighten up there. That's 9th through 12th on the racetrack. McCaskill in the 3, Smith in the 4, Rouse in the 70, and Murray in the 08, all fighting it out for position right here. Smith jumps topside. Rouse looks to gain the advantage down low. Nothing happening that time. Smith looking for a lane here to try to make something happen and get himself a little bit further inside the top 10, maybe go up and compete for the win here tonight.
Bobbled a tiny bit there coming off a turn 2, but keeps his foot in it. Off the apron again. I mean, we've seen a lot of people kissing the apron, Nick, but the apron definitely has some commitment issues, so you don't want to get too married to that group. So far, though, Matt Smith making it work, puts the wheel up for the second.
Oh!
Cow in turn number 3.
Around goes McCaskill. And Brock Rouse involved in that as well. Let's take a look here and see what happens. On lap number 22, McCaskill in trouble from the top 10 on the racetrack. And we have the first yellow of the day here on lap number 21.
Yep. You can see on the SDK replay there some contact between Rouse and McCaskill fighting for the 10th spot. His best could to avoid them. And that Murray darting right to pit road, the right front there. So we'll see if he decides to take it pit side.
Yeah, we saw Richie Murray get into that accident as well in the 08. Not what he needed early on in this race, as, like you said, he's trying to keep up with Logan Powers and Bob Eldred for position here in this championship fight. Not good for Richie Murray on pit road here on lap number 21.
Indeed. No, he was going to be towards the back of the field anyway after being part of the caution. So hopefully this is just a case of going down, making sure everything is squared away on that Chuckrin Auto Parts number 08 machine. But he'd already made it part of the way from the back, and now he's going to have to do it all over again.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting night for Richie Murray. The IACT giveth and IACT taketh away, I guess you could say, as we roll under our first caution period of the night. We'll see who kind of benefits from that. Matt Smith up into the top 10. He was kind of hanging out there anyway. Justin Prescott's up to 11th. Dave Weir is 12th, as the field's going to shift all the way around here as we get ready to go back to green, at least on our scoring pylon.
Yeah, that's one little quirk of the live timing system under the cautions, but no harm, no foul. I could see in the very back there, and we'll confirm Richie Murray is rejoining at the tail of the field for this restart. We do see some damage on both the corners. We'll have to see how that handles on the restart. But at the front, it's going to be Nate Wenzel in the 03 and Casey Beatty in the 45 taking the green.
Here we go. We are back to green flag racing with Wenzel out in front in a side-by-side battle for second is Logan Powers and Casey Beatty, and Bob Eldred there in fourth trying to make something happen after giving up the lead early on in this thing.
Yeah, I saw Casey Beatty scrape the wall a tiny bit the previous lap going to turn one. May have broken his momentum just enough for Powers to get under him. But Beatty gets it wound back up and gets second. And look like Eldred may have given a little bit of a tap there to Powers, but everybody keeps it rolling, and they're in the third and fourth positions.
Yeah, Bob Eldred in the 13 gives Logan Powers in the 31 a little how do you do there here on lap number 24. Look at Kyle Goodboe. He has worked his way up through the field, all the way up to fifth position. Jason Rickers up to sixth. These guys making some gains here on this restart.
Indeed, and Kyle Goodboe trying the extreme outside line there heading into turn one, has to back out of it. Up ahead, though, you can see Casey Beatty starting to give a little once-over to Nate Wenzel for the lead here. Not pushing too hard, but those two had gapped the field a little bit on the previous green flag run, and Casey Beatty taking a look right now to see what's working, what isn't, and of course, 100 laps from now, see if that's still the case.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We got trouble in four.
Are they going to hold on to it? No! Around goes Ricker. Caution flag is out. Justin Prescott looks to be involved. It all started when Kyle Goodboe got into the back of Bob Eldred in the 13, and we have our second caution of the event here on lap number 27.
Indeed. It all comes apart there, as we'll see if we can get a replay queued up to confirm what happened, but calamity erupts towards the front of the field as we work on lap 28 here at the North Wilkesboro Motor Speedway.
Yeah, that one was all over the place.
We'll have to start a little earlier here to see if we can get a replay here. Nick, what do you see here?
Oh, the 17 gets the apron. We've been talking about that. And once you hit that apron, you're along for the ride. Ricker tries to slow up, and Philadelphia tries to shoot the top side, doesn't quite get it, and runs the 9 of Ricker over from the back. Good job though by Goodboo and Eldred there to keep it straight after what was nearly a caution for them, but instead the caution flies when Philadelphia gets into the back of Jason Ricker. But it's unfortunate, Michael, because we were just talking about Kyle Goodboo, Jason Ricker, both having good runs up to the front of the field. And now, I mean, we'll see if there's any penalties here. It looks like Goodboo might get to keep his spot, but Ricker for sure is going to be at the back of the pack again.
Indeed, and that, really an accordion fact there. As you can see, Matt Smith on pit road, and it looks like the 08 of Richie Murray back on pit road as well. One of those unfortunate racing deals where, Goodboo catches the curve, gets up into Eldred, and then they're stacking it behind him, and you see JJ Goodboo, Kyle's brother, swerve to the inside, and of course the Philadelphia ends up, because of that very short notice of, there's a car going 20 miles an hour slower in front of me, and stuff happens in racing, doesn't it, Nick?
Yeah, it happens very much faster than the slow-mo replay would suggest. So we're pacing here under our second caution of the evening. Nate Wenzel is your race leader, looking for his first career IACT victory. As you see Matt Smith making his way off of pit road. Yeah, Richie Murray coming down off pit road as well here as we get ready to go back green, I believe, this time by.
Indeed, we'll go green with 27 complete under the score forward system we use on the GossCars.com IACT Winter Warm-Up Series. Nathan Wenzel again choosing the inside as the race leader. Beatty again to the top as we go back racing.
And here we go. Green flag back in the air in the Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler 150 at North Wilkesboro. Wenzel is out to the lead. Casey Beatty, though, gets right underneath him, trying to settle in there and take that spot away. But for now, he's in second. While Goodboo mounts an attack on the outside. We'll see. Look at all those cars headed for the top side as Goodboo shoots to third.
Yeah, Beatty got a much cleaner restart that time, was able to very quickly get in line in second and set himself up to make a counterattack on Nathan Wenzel. He is doing just that. Draws a bead on him on that inside line. Nathan Wenzel going to try and hold on to the top in a very similar position he frequently found himself in at South Boston Speedway last week, but Casey Beatty is going to get it done on the inside as the reigning champion goes to the top spot.
Nate Wenzel brushes the wall there in the 03, and look at Goodboo slide up down there on the outside of the racetrack. Wenzel's going to try the crossover. All this is happening right in front of Logan Powers, who's content to kind of sit back and let those two fight it out. They make more contact off of turn 4, and it's an all-out brawl for second place here at North Wilkesboro.
Indeed, they are trying to get what they can while the getting is good, as the saying goes. Wenzel has to tuck it back in line in third, and it's just as well, because if he hadn't gotten the job done, there was a whole line of cars looking to potentially go around him, but so far they seem content to take a breath now in the first 6 to 9 cars of the field and get back sorted here at North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, there's those points in the race where you gotta, recognize, is this one spot worth battling for? If the chance of losing 5 or 6 spots, if that chance exists. So for Nate Wenzel, I mean, he lost that battle, but he's got himself set up in a situation where he can still win the war.
Indeed, as we check in the back here, it looks like Aiden Young may have lost it on the top as several cars go by him. Young drifting back in the field here, gets passed by Matt Smith and Brock Rouse going underneath him. Up ahead, we see the 9 of Jason Ricker trying to get back on the comeback trail underneath Mike McCaskill.
This is the battle for 10th position on the racetrack. Ricker, who we just saw involved in that spin, goes past Mike McCaskill, who has crash damage from an earlier incident. Scott Dragon in the 0 there, making his way up through the field. He's up to 12th. Best Scott has been running all day long, but for now, Jason Ricker has taken 10th position and is off to chase down Brian Rogers in the 12.
We'll check back into that first pack again. Beatty and Goodboo have got a couple of car lengths over Nathan Wenzel. Then it's Powers, JJ Goodboo, and the 13 of Bob Eldred, who Nick kind of finds himself in a different position than he's used to. We're really used to seeing Bob Eldred, start mid-pack, towards the back of the pack, really patiently work his way through the field. This week he started on the outside pole and has drifted back a little. And, so what do you think Bob Eldred is looking at now, really having to approach this race a little differently than he's used to?
Well, I think Bob Eldred thrives when everybody else's tires are worn out. And so, yeah, we saw him get passed a little bit early in this event, drop back from the pole position or the outside pole position down to sixth. But Bob Eldred really comes alive when everybody else is really struggling on the tires. Bob will be the first to tell you he'll race he would love to go 90 laps into a run here, get everybody else just really struggling with their cars. That's when Bob is at his best, and that's when I think he'll be able to pounce and get back up towards the podium as this race goes on.
We will keep an eye on that, but Eldred not waiting that long at this point as he goes back to the inside of JJ Goodboot, trying to break back into the top five. That is the farthest forward side-by-side battle on the track. Eldred in fifth now, Goodboot in sixth, Ty Delphia in seventh, and Dave Weir in the 21 looking to get into the mix from the eighth position you can see at the top of your screen.
Yeah, Dave Weir having a great run here tonight. His best run on the IACT Winter Warm-Up Series thus far, as he rolls around in eighth in the Riley Landfear colors. Dave Weir, the champion spotter this year with Gabe Brown on the Milton Cat ACT Tour, as he rolls around here in eighth position.
Indeed, has gotten his feet wet in the first few races and doing very well for himself. As we're going to check back now here in the second half of the field. This has got its own battle shaping up here. Mike McCaskill holding on to the 11th spot, but has an avalanche behind him. The 0 of Scott Dragon, 04 of Prescott, and the 4 of Matt Smith. And you can see in the back there, Richie Murray, not sure if that crash affected the handling of his car more than we thought it would, but just really struggling as we approach the 1/3 mark of this event.
Yeah, Murray all the way back in 16th position right now. Going to have to find a way maybe to score some track position under a yellow flag or something along those lines when everybody else pits. Murray's going to have to get on an alternate strategy at this point in the race, because he has just not been up to par so far. Maybe some track position could help turn his day around.
We will keep an eye on that, as up ahead of him, Scott Dragon dives underneath the 3 of Mike McCaskill, looking for the number 11 spot. McCaskill trying to fight back, but Dragon is going to get the spot off turn 2. Justin Prescott says, "Thank you, don't mind if I do," and flies through the open door to pick up the number 12 position.
Yeah, McCaskill's struggling with that car. Probably still has some damage from that earlier incident that he was in. Really starting to give up some spots now as Dragon, Prescott, Matt Smith all get by. Brock Rouse looking as well. And here comes Bob Eldred looking for 4th position on the track.
It is a mirror image. The 31 on the outside, the 13 on the inside. Your top 2 drivers in points of those at this event. And right now they are fighting for the 4th position on the track. The Mind Warp doing his thing, gets clear off of turn 4, move Eldred back into the number 4 spot.
Bob Eldred making his charge through the field here as this run continues to go along. And Michael, none of these leaders have pit yet, so like I said, Bob Eldred, as these tires start to wear out, really start to take advantage as we see a battle for the lead now as well between Goodboo and Beatty.
Indeed. Goodboo, the 17 of Kyle Goodboo and the 45, your reigning champion Beatty, have broken away from the rest of the field, going to duke it out amongst themselves here. Goodboo's been trying some stuff, looking to the outside, looking to the inside, but not pressing too hard just yet. Still 98 laps some to go in this thing, but 2 strong drivers. Kyle Goodboo finished in the top 5 in points last year, even missing a race. So despite his slow start this year, he's capable. And looking to see him, finally seal the deal here and be there at the end looking for the win. As I say that, he drops back a little bit from Beatty.
Yeah, Goodboot just needs a good run, right, Michael? I mean, it's been a miserable start to the season for him. He's really struggled, hasn't been able to put a full race together yet. And here he is battling up for second position with Beatty. Even a second. I mean, I know he wants to win the race, but a second would just be the momentum that he needs to turn this season around.
Indeed, it's at some point you just need a run, a good run. No, not necessarily a win, but just a decent run. As you see him try to pull back up on him. We'll check back in the middle of the field here as Scott Dragon, it looks like, has dropped a couple of spots. Matt Smith and Justin Prescott get by him. They will try now and close in on the 12 of Brian Rogers, who currently rounds out your top 10, but is more than a second and a half ahead of this battle.
Yeah, there's a big gap, as you can see right there. And it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, as this run wears on, you get one tire change. Halfway in this race is 75 laps, so you've got a long ways to go here still before you might have a chance to change tires. We're in a long green flag run right now. I don't want to do an announcer's jinx, Michael, but if there's not a caution soon, I mean, these guys have got to be really managing their tires, because you don't want to hit lap 90 and have the caution, then and have to go 90 laps on one set here, because if you're wearing your stuff out now, then it could cause big problems later on in the run.
Indeed, you kind of saw a bit of that at South Boston last week when we had the unlimited tires. We had the caution just past lap 50. You saw a couple of drivers like Ryan Kuhn take 2 tires there, hoping to get some track position and a quick caution. But then we never got another caution. We went more than 90 laps the rest of the way. And so that's the thing, is you can have a great plan, but sometimes reality doesn't cooperate with the plan, and you gotta account for that as you go. And there you go, Nick.
Oh no, Nate Wenzel's around in the 03 from the top 3 running positions. We were just watching a battle with him and Bob Eldred for third spot on the racetrack, Michael, and it looks like it's all come apart here.
Yep, indeed. We will check with our replay team and see what they can get us here, what happened. Oh, a little bit of contact off of turn 4. Perhaps Eldred looked like he just washed up the track a little bit, and around goes Nathan Wenzel.
Yep, so we're going to see, Eldred they hooked together there off the corner, and around goes Wenzel. We'll see. If Bob Eldred heads to the back for that could be potentially very big for the championship chase. We see some cars on pit road now, too.
We do see a few cars staying out, like Logan Powers and Jason Ricker, but a lot of cars on pit road, as you can see there. The Good Boo, Bob Eldred, Casey Beatty, and many others heading to the pits, and this caution around lap 60.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what that buffer looks like for Logan Powers, who's up at the front of the field, right? How many cars are in between him and the guys that he was just battling with, because these fresh tires right now are certainly going to mean something. But we're not even halfway yet. I think I still, unless my car was just driving like absolute junk, I would be in favor of staying out here. And I think this could be a good strategy call for Logan Powers. Jason Ricker now up to second. This is going to make things interesting.
And we're taking a look at our pit strategy right here, and you can see some alternating strategies here, Nick, because Powers was in on 59. I shouldn't say has stayed out here. So was Brian Rogers, but it looks like Jason Ricker, Matt Smith, and Justin Prescott up there in that top 5 pitted on lap 27. So their tires are what the kids would call mid right now. So very interesting to see these drivers who haven't pitted, these drivers who pitted 30-something laps ago, and what happens here. And we're going to, here, as we're taking a look back in here to figure out who the first car is that pitted as we get ready to go back racing.
Yeah, it's going to be right around that area of where Beatty and David Weir are. So it looks like about eight or so cars that stayed out under this yellow flag period.
Yep. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off for them as the green flag goes back underway in the Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler 150.
Logan Powers away with the race lead. We're going to keep an eye on those guys that came in and changed tires. How will they make their way up through the field? We're going to watch those guys that are staying out on the mid tires, as Michael calls them. And we're going to see how maybe a Brian Rogers, Logan Powers, how do they fare on tires that have not been changed yet? So 62 laps into this thing, nearing the halfway point. It's going to be an interesting run to the finish here in the Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler 150 in North Wilkesboro.
Indeed. So far, it is Powers and Ricker at the front of the field, still getting sorted out behind them. We take a look back here. These are the first two cars we believe that pitted under that caution. Our pit strategy is only showing us the top 8 on the track, as you can see, but the 45 Beatti, the 21 of Weir, then Goodboo, and Richie Murray. Interesting call by him, Nick, but whereas everyone else in the back stayed out, he decided to pit with the leaders and basically get himself in the same box as them. Interesting play.
Yeah, we were talking about, that might have been an opportunity back there for Richie Murray to gain some strategy, but maybe he's taken a look at it and said, hey, I think I have a good car. I'm going to pit with the leaders here as if I was one of the leaders, and then try to gain the track position by following them up through, get myself up into the top 5. Well, also, he probably had some more damage to fix on pit road as well, so he's gone with a strategy call here of kind of staying with the leaders and trying to kind of just become one of them at the same time. Interesting.
Right now, he's trying to follow a fellow black and green car through the field. You see the 92 of Goodboo up ahead of him as we watch from the GossCars.com blimp piloted by Brian Hoare. Murray moves himself into the 12th spot there, as so far it is still Powers and Ricker at the front of the field as we close in on halfway.
You see Bob Eldred and Nate Wenzel running side by side again. Back up at the front of the field, here is the top 3. Logan Powers leads the way in the 31. Jason Ricker in the 9. Had such a strong run last week, looking to do it again this week. And Matt Smith in the 4 machine, he's making his presence felt as well. He was running around the very end of the top 10 for the first part of this race, but now he's got himself some good track position here, trying to make a bid for the lead as we come around to complete lap 69.
The man on the naughty list is feeling nice at the moment. He has caught the 2 leaders, putting some pressure now on the Oxford Pass tech man, Jason Ricker, who sees it's time to go and takes a peek to the inside of Logan Powers to the lead. Nothing doing there at the moment.
Ricker and Logan Powers stuck together right now, it seems. We saw them battle for the race lead for so much of the race last week at South Boston. Richie Murray ultimately shot through the field and stole it away from both of them. But now here they are battling for the lead again as we watch Richie Murray trying to work his way up through, but stuck back in 12th right now. That strategy maybe not working out so well with trying to stay with the leaders right now.
We will keep our eyeballs on that in the meantime, but we go back to this 3-car battle for the lead. Could potentially become a 4-car battle as Prescott, along with those 3, have broken away from the rest of the field. Action though, hot and heavy up here and hot and heavy from 5th on back. You can see at the top of your screen, Brian Rogers trying to hold off a cattle call that includes Dragon, McCaskill, Beatti, the Goodboos, and all the rest. There's so much, Nick. We're in the rare problem right now of trying to figure out where to keep our camera on.
Yeah, it would be interesting if this broadcasting service we're using would have like a double box or something. That'd be kind of cool. I don't think it does, but nonetheless, here's the battle for 5th on back.
Ideas.
Yeah. Battle for 5th on back. Brian Rogers leading this charge, but as you see, McCaskill and Dragon side by side. Right behind them is all those guys that pit for fresh tires, and they really haven't made up much ground here as we hit the halfway point. McCaskill and Dragon running side by side here, kind of, giving them no room to make their way up through the field. So the fresh tires not really doing a whole lot right now.
And also what I've seen, Nick, is the outside has been coming in some, because I've seen, JJ Goodboo get on the inside, try to make a move, not be able to pass it. So it looks like we're getting to be a 2-lane track here. That's allowing cars to stay side by side for longer, and it's forming a blockade for these drivers who were running up front in the first 60 laps of the race to try and get back through the field. And as we say that, Casey Beatty thought briefly about trying to split the middle, but falls back in line.
This is absolute pandemonium right now in the battle for fifth. It's about a 12-car battle for fifth as they go side by side. Rogers and McCaskill. Beatty's found his way underneath Scott Dragon for the time being. Bob Eldred's in the middle of it. Kyle Goodboo's thinking about 3 wide. They're going to be 3 wide down the front stretch. Goodboo and Dragon slam doors going over the start-finish line. Dragon will back out of it. Goodboo's going for more. Him and Rogers now slam doors down the backstretch and into turn 3, still 3 wide.
Indeed. We're going to go on board here. Now we're going to go inside with the 08 of Richie Murray, who's in the middle of this hornet's nest. Casey Beatty, you can see up about, is finally broken through the pack up to the 5th spot, and look out in front of them. Looked like McCaskill and Eldred may have gotten together, and the caution very quickly flies here at North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Caution flag is out. We'll take a look here at the replay, see what happened, see who's involved. And that was brewing for a while, Michael. It was bound to happen, I believe.
Indeed. Cars running inches apart there at 100 plus miles an hour as we see and there we go. Some contact between Eldred and McCaskill, and they actually get it straightened out, but the caution does come out. And take it very quickly back to live, Nick, because as we were setting that up, I saw some more cars diving onto pit road.
Yeah, it looks like Logan Powers is down there. Jason Ricker. Matt Smith is on pit road.
Basically, it looks like everybody who didn't pit. Yeah, it looks like everybody who didn't pit at the last caution is in, but Richie Murray does elect to come back in as well.
Yeah, still trying to get everything set up correctly on the 08 machine. It's been the evening has gone less than planned for last week's race winner. As we take a look, these are the cars that will now be up at the front of the field. Justin Prescott, he pit earlier on in the event, and it looks like Casey Beatty is going to get to his outside here for the restart. A lot of the guys that pit back on lap 65 are now going to have an opportunity here with still relatively fresh tires, about 20 laps on them, to make a move here. But you see Justin Prescott, 52 laps on his tires compared to the 20 for everybody else.
Indeed, him, and it also, according to our pit battle box, the 13 of Luke Shannon elected to stay out. He had fallen back in the field, but a couple of drivers who are just gonna look to stay out as long as they possibly can and possibly bolt some fresh tires on for a final sprint to the finish. We will see if the race circumstances play out in favor for that.
And it's going to be an interesting drive here. Justin Prescott has not had a lot of success on the IACT Winter Warm-Up Series so far this year. He's going to have an opportunity to start out front. Here they come to the green.
Green is out, and it's the 45 of Casey Beatty. Gets the drive with those fresher tires and shoots around the outside to take over the lead. Kyle Goodboo going to look to follow him through as Justin Prescott may just have to try and tread water here in the 04 machine.
And he's going to equal himself up here side by side with Goodboo. We'll see how long that goes on for, as Eldred is back up to 4th. All of the chaos tonight that's been surrounding Bob Eldred, he is currently sitting in 4th place and still sitting pretty ahead of his 2 championship competitors right now. Richie Murray's back in 9th, and Logan Powers all the way back in 12th after just making that pit stop.
Indeed, Kyle Goodboe secures the second spot, so we're going to head back in the field where they are still side by side. 13 of Luke Shannon doing his best to hang on those tires that have 80 plus laps on at this point. But he's got Richie Murray and Jason Ricker, who are just on pit road, breathing down his neck. Richie Murray shoots around the outside in the '08 machine.
Yeah, Shannon really kind of struggling right now on those older tires as you see everybody getting around on his outside. Nate Wenzel's there. He's led laps early on in this thing. There's Richie Murray as well. We've kind of been keeping half an eye on him all night long after having such a strong race last week. He has been mired back in the field, looking to make a charge though now as he is up to 7th, I believe, Michael. That's the highest he's run all day. And Brock Rouse with problems in that 70 car, so he goes down to the inside.
Able to get it going, but showing multiple laps down now on your scoreboard as we start to click off some laps here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. We head back up to the front as Casey Beatty leads it, and clearly there was some sort of incident, Nick, that didn't bring out the caution but jumbled things, because we see Aiden Young now about to go a lap down as well.
Yeah, the leader's bearing down on him. Beatty's out in front. You see Justin Prescott has been able to settle the 04 machine into 3rd place for the time being. We'll see if he can mount any sort of charge for the race lead, and we'll see if Aiden Young becomes a factor. Maybe somebody gets to use him as a pick here in this battle for the lead, but Young looking like he's getting himself away from the leaders at this point.
In the meantime here, we're going to see if we can figure out what happened there to set everyone back in the field as we go back in time on the SDK replay.
Yeah, yep. See, I don't know if Rouse was coming to pit road or... And then...
Indeed. Well, something happened where Aiden Young was suddenly going a whole lot faster than Brock Rouse, and they got together. No caution came out, but Aiden Young fighting from way behind now as it is becoming a 5-car breakaway and soon to be a 6-car breakaway, Nick, because look who's at the top of your screen, the 08 of Richie Murray.
It's been a less than stellar day for Richie Murray, but he is making up for it using those fresh tires, getting them worked in a little bit, and making a charge for the front as Beatty and Goodboe continue to lead. But watch that green car, that black and green number 08. He is on a mission trying to make it back to back, and what a story it would be if he could pull that off.
Indeed, especially with the trouble he was in early in this one. He is up to 6. 2 other drivers who pitted in that last caution, Matt Smith and Jason Ricker, have broken through the field. They run in 7th and 8th now. So the guys who pitted on that caution were able to make at least some of them were able to make some very quick moves. Others, though, like Logan Powers, still mired back in the field.
Yeah, Powers, you see there, moving up to 11th as it stands. Michael, I don't know how much fresh tires are really making a difference right now. You'd think at a track like North Wilkesboro that eats tires for breakfast on this old pavement, you'd think that the fresh tires would really allow you to drive up through the field, but it's worked both ways. I mean, Justin Prescott's running 3rd right there in now 67-lap-old tires. He's sticking right with the leaders, and Logan Powers on brand new tires is still all the way back in 11th. So I don't think it makes a huge difference in this race.
Indeed, and you can see the pit strategies here. So clearly some of these drivers like Smith, Ricker, Murray, who were in the pits early on, didn't take tires since they obviously had a set to use on that lap 80 caution. But even then, you can see Beatty and Goodboe 36 laps in their tires, but Justin Prescott dropped a couple positions early, but once he got the tires warmed up, has been able to hang right with them as we see a change for the 4th spot and soon to be the 5th position.
Bob Eldred sliding backwards now. Goodboe gets by, and then the other black and green car, Richie Murray, pulls to his inside. Coming up on 50 laps to go. Bob Eldred back to 6th. Oh, and there's trouble. Goodboe hard into the outside wall in turn number 4. Caution flag flies again.
Indeed, contact between Murray and the 92 of Goodboot brings the yellow out in this one. We'll see. We'll take a look here. What happened? We'll back this replay up just a little bit so you can see the setup here, Nick.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. I don't know if they were both going for the same spot. You see Murray's going to dive it in deep. I think the 92 thought he had the inside. Murray was wrapping that bottom a little bit faster. And then the 92 just overcorrects and slices that thing up into the wall.
Yeah. No, Murray definitely drove it in deep, and I think JJ Goodboot just wasn't expecting that and end up getting together and a hard shot to the wall for our pole sitter.
Yeah, thank goodness this is only virtual.
And as you can... Yep. And word from race control, the 08 Richie Murray to the rear. And it looks like the 13 of Eldred has dropped to the rear as well.
Wow. Very interesting here.
And we do see a few more cars pitting as well. It looks like Luke Shannon is going to finally come in and get his set of tires. And honestly, I think that's a great play by him, Nick, because even when everyone was on the same tires, he was running at the back of the field. So he is trying the only thing that can realistically give him a shot the way things are going, and he stayed out as long as he could.
Yep, he sure did. So we'll see. It looks like Beatty Goodboot are still up at the front. Matt Smith runs third. And Jason Ricker, there he is again, up at a fourth.
Yep.
He had some problems early on.
We saw Justin Prescott also did come in and get his tires under that caution. He drops to the field. Yep.
So here we go. It's a restart.
Field is crossing up. We're ready to go. Casey Beatty, Kyle Goodboot, Matt Smith, and Jason Ricker. Your first two rows, followed by Ty Delphia and Scott Dragon, with 52 laps to go in this one, Nick.
52 laps to the money here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. We are back underway, and a good jump there from the two leaders. Jason Ricker's able to get down into third. Matt Smith did not get up through the gears as well as everybody else right there. He'll settle back into fourth.
Oh, we almost had major calamity in the back of the field. I could see Delphia and Dragon get together off turn 2, but somehow everybody kept it going straight, and they will continue to race for that fifth position.
You see Logan Powers right in that mix as well in the 31, led a lot of laps early in this race. Delphia on the inside there, Scott Dragon top side, both fighting for a top 5 run. Neither of them with a top 5 in their IACT careers, so looking for a career best day between the two of those drivers. Delphia 13, Dragon with the advantage in the 0. Scott Dragon getting pretty good at this iRacing deal, Michael.
Indeed. We know that real racing and virtual racing aren't quite the same skill set, but he is picking it up fast here in the virtual racing world. Checking in a couple of rows behind him, the 04 Prescott trying to march through the field on some fresh tires. And Richie Murray, stop me if you heard this, Nick, before. Another chapter of trying to come from the back here at North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, I feel like Richie Murray's passed the entire state of Rhode Island tonight in this race, as he's gone from the back to the front, to the back, to the front, to the back again, trying to work his way back in now up to 10th position. Justin Prescott, though, on those fresh tires, is wheeling that thing around the top side. Look at him get right to the outside of Logan Powers and get the advantage possibly off of turn number 2.
Indeed. So we can clearly tell, Nick, that he didn't take tires on that lap 27 stop. He was one of the ones who waited until the final third of the race, and he is charging up to the number 7 position, already reeling in Ty Delphia and the O of Scott Dragon. Up front, though, it's become a 3-car breakaway as we head back up there. Beatty, Kyle Goodboot, and Jason Ricker.
Yeah, Matt Smith trying to stay in contact with those leaders. Falling back a little bit right now as Goodboot is right there. Ricker right there as well. Put the top 3 under a blanket as Justin Prescott continues his drive to the front. He's past Delphia, and it looks like he's going for Dragon right now.
Indeed, as we get our cameras sorted there, Justin Prescott takes the number 5 spot. A man on a mission. He now sets his sight on the top 4. Richie Murray, not that far behind him, is back up to 9th in the '08 machine. As with 42 laps to go, another very interesting chapter being written in this one.
Absolutely. As you watch Prescott's interval there on the right, on the left-hand side of the screen, continuously going down, 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 and these guys aren't even really fighting side by side for the lead. This is going to be a 5-car battle for the lead here pretty soon, I do have to imagine, as we take a look at the lap times of our lead drivers. These guys probably running just about as close to flat out as they can with 40 laps to go here, but Justin Prescott trying to make his way into this fight about 1.3 seconds behind it.
Indeed, that time around he was a little more than a tenth faster than our leader, Casey Beatty. Checking the times on my end, we'll see what it is this time around. And again, that time around, Beatty ran an 18.82, and Justin Prescott ran an 18.68. So Prescott definitely faster, but, he's almost there, but he's still going to have to pass him, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like right now these guys are just kind of biding their time, trying to get this thing down to the last few laps so they can make a move for the win. Jason Rickard wants revenge after having a rough night a couple of nights ago, or last week at South Boston. Had such a strong run, fell back late. He wants to ensure that he's on that podium this week. He wants to take home some cash. As we see a caution come out here, that could change everything.
Indeed. Not entirely sure what happened. We're hearing it may have involved the 12 of Brian Rogers. As we get a look here, we're actually inside the nose of Brian Rogers on pit road as the cameras get situated, but we're going to see if we can find out what happened to put us under this most recent yellow.
You see him fighting here. Luke Shannon to his inside. Oh, Brock Rouse gets a little bit too hot into the corner. That almost looked identical to JJ Goodboo's wreck. Hard contact to the turn 2 retaining wall for Brian Rogers. Tough end to what has been a pretty good day for Brian Rogers in the 12 car. And as you can see on the side of our screen, he is out of the event. Tough break for him.
Indeed. And you see the 3 Mike McCaskill coming up on the outside. We do have free passes here tonight. McCaskill got one under the last caution, and he gets one here as well. So the 3 of McCaskill is going to get back on the lead lap in this one with 37 to go. But the big story is at the front, as Justin Prescott on the fresh tires had just about reeled in our top 4, and now they're going to double up, and we're going to have 37 laps to see what happens.
Yeah, it could be a double-edged sword for Prescott here. I mean, we saw him making huge gains getting to that lead group, but does cooling these tires back off under this caution period and then putting them through another heat cycle, does that affect things? Does that level out the playing field a little bit? It gets him right up close here to the battle for the lead, but the heat cycle on these tires could have an adverse effect on the ground that he was making up and the advantage that he seemed to have.
Indeed, and we still got some heavy hitters trying to work their way through this thing, Nick. The effective number 2 point man, Logan Powers, in 7th. Bob Eldred, your point leader, in 9th. Richie Murray, last week's winner and your effective number 3 point man, trying to get through the field again, is up to 10th. A lot of talented drivers here getting doubled up. A lot that can happen here over the final 30 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about Ty Delphia up there running in 6th, having a great run. Scott Dragon back in 8th, also having a great night. It's going to be interesting here as they come to green.
Indeed, we can report that Brian Rogers has officially retired from the event after that incident. JJ Goodboo not officially out the event, but has remained behind the pit wall. As we go back racing here in the Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler 150, it's Beatty getting the jump on the inside.
Beatty takes the lead convincingly from Kyle Goodboo. Goodboo's going to sneak into 2nd. hold off Jason Ricker for the time being, and they'll settle back in single file just the way they were. Matt Smith under fire for fourth position on the racetrack. Now he's going to try to clear Justin Prescott. Not quite yet. There's the Firestorm back from fourth place on back with Prescott and Smith running side by side. Ty Delphia there as well. Logan Powers still trying to make his way up to the front of the field.
Indeed, you can see this cluster here from fifth on back. Matt Smith complete with his naughty list, trying to hang on the outside, but the 13 of Ty Delphia dives underneath him. Also got Logan Powers in the mix, the point leader Bob Eldred trying to come through the field. Up ahead, the top three have put a little breathing room, but the 04 Prescott trying to chase him back down.
Yeah, Prescott getting away there with fourth position. As you see, there's Bob Eldred right behind Logan Powers. As we take a look, this is like the video style chase cam. Love to see that. As Goodboo now trying to maybe mount in a charge for the lead on the top side, but Beatty holding him off for now.
He didn't win last year's championship for nothing. Casey Beatty, as skilled in the simulator as he is in real life, the former White Mountain Motorsports Park champion. He's going to have to work for this one, though, closing in on 30 laps to go, and he's got Kyle Goodboo, Ricker, Prescott, and others all trying to gun him down.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun fight to the finish. How much is Kyle Goodboo holding back? How much can Jason Ricker provide for this race lead? As Logan Powers is up in the marbles. He hit the wall on corner entry all the way up in the marbles. That's going to cost him at least 2 positions. He'll settle in behind Richie Murray and go back even farther there as Aiden Young gets underneath him. Powers did not need that. He's fallen back to 9th at the time being, under pressure for 10th right now, with Aiden Young looking for 9th.
Indeed, a tough break there for Powers. He's just now going to have to try and get what he can. In the meantime, we'll go back up to what has become a 4-car tango at the front of the field. Beatty, Goodboo, Ricker, and the 04 of Prescott ready to sort it out here at North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, Prescott's caught right up to the back bumper of Ricker. It's maybe a couple car lengths now. Ricker's trying to, I think he's still just trying to feel these guys out, see what he can do, and you know, make a charge, because it's going to take a perfect move to get past Goodboo and Beatty, a couple of really, really strong iRacers here. And the 45-17, they're going to want to do their best to just run away and hide at this point.
Indeed, but there aren't many places to run and hide here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. The top two starting to pull away a bit now. The 17 of Goodboo and the 45 of Beatty trying to, you know, you don't get much of a draft at North Wilkesboro, but they're doing what they can here. Jason Ricker holding on to 3rd, and Prescott trying to move in on him.
There we see Justin Prescott continuing to mount a charge, but Ricker getting a good corner exit that time as the front 4 start to space out just a little bit more. Matt Smith holding on to 5th. Ty Delphia back there in 6th. Bob Eldred, Richie Murray, Logan Powers. How about that, Michael? All 3 of your of the top point guys right there under a blanket, 7th, 8th, and 9th at this point.
Indeed. So not a lot of movement can happen at this point, but hey, we still got almost 25 laps to go. Powers has definitely lost touch. Richie Murray putting the pressure on the 13 of Bob Eldred. And look who's rounding out the top 10 as it stands. Luke Shannon, one of those guys who waited until the last moment to pit, and guy who started the year as one of your top point drivers, maybe using it to salvage something here as he holds on to that number 10 position.
Yeah, it has not been a great day for Luke Shannon. Up to 10th now, though. A top 10 would really solidify a solid day for him in the 13. As we go back up to the front here, this is your battle for the lead. Not much of a battle right now with 22 to go, but we'll see what happens as the laps continue to wind down. Will Beatty pull away, or will it tighten back up here as the pay window opens and these drivers look for the win here in the Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler 150?
Indeed. We will take a quick peek up here to remind you of what pit strategies these drivers are on. Beatty and Goodboo have the oldest tires up front here, pitting at lap 60. Ricker got his fresh tires at 82. Prescott got his at lap 98. So at this point, though, may possibly have leveled out a bit here after a few heat cycles. It's mano a mano at this point. They'll head back into the middle of the pack here as the best battle on the track is this 3-car dance for the number 6 spot. Ty Delphia looking to put the move on Richie Murray there.
And Delphia trying to stay up and continue this good run that he's been having, but Murray and Eldred both on the charge here late as Logan Powers fading a little bit in the 31 machine. Eldred there in the 13, Murray in the 08, two of your top point competitors at this point in the season. Murray, the winner last week in that 08 machine, looking for the position. It's the battle for 6th from the front bumper of Ty Delphia in the 13.
Indeed, and that is a position that could be important championship-wise because 2 points per position in the main event with the 5-point bonus for winning. You know, Bob Eldred did have a healthy lead over Powers and Murray out coming into this, but every position counts towards the end of the season. Richie Murray trying to do some wheeling and dealing late in the going.
Yeah, absolutely. Murray knowing he needs that spot. So you can see really all of the top 7 competitors out the front bumper of Ty Delphia's machine. Delphia sits 3.25 seconds back of the race lead with 15 to go. Beatty leads it by a half second. Ricker's still within a second of the lead. Justin Prescott 1.2 seconds back. Matt Smith 1.75 seconds back here with 15 to go.
Indeed. If anyone has anything left, they are going to have to show it right soon, Nick, because we are in the final 10% of this one. There's really not much left to save. You've got to go at this point, and Kyle Goodbull will see if he's been saving anything here to mount one last charge on the 45 of Beatty.
It's interesting here to see the lines. Which lines around this racetrack are these drivers taking? Goodboo's been willing to do a little bit different than everybody else today, but right now it looks like him and Beatty running pretty similar lanes around this racetrack. That gap staying pretty even at about 0.4 of a second as Beatty trying to keep him at bay and lock down his first win of the year.
We go inside with the 04 Justin Prescott trying to grab the final spot on the podium. Has been staring down that RKM setup shop number 9 Camaro of Jason Ricker for a while. Not yet been able to find a way around him. Drops all the way to the white line. Got real close to the grass there. But Jason Ricker keeping the momentum wound up in that machine. Holds on to 3rd for the time being.
10 laps to go as these guys continue to fight it out. And Goodboo really struggling now. Ricker's trying to take advantage. As Goodboo slips back down to a half second behind Beatty. That's exactly what Casey wants to see, and exactly what Jason Ricker wants to see, is he knows he's got a shot at second now with less than 10 to go.
Indeed, Jason Ricker led so many laps last week at South Boston before fading all the way back. I believe it was to 6th late in the going. Wants some redemption here. Kisses the apron, but we said it, Nick. She's an unforgiving gal, and that bounces Ricker back another car length or 2.
That opens the door for Justin Prescott to make something happen. Beatty's lead grows to 0.7 of a second as the battle for second becomes a little bit more heated. The battle for the win a little less heated. 7 laps to go at North Wilkesboro. Beatty out in front, and the fight for second is on.
And behind them, you can see the 13 of Eldred has reeled in the 4 of Matt Smith, trying to find his way in the top 5, keep his top 5 streak this season alive. Gonna have to do it soon, though. Beatty continues to lead with 6 laps to go. Kyle Goodboo just trying to hold on to second as Jason Ricker has gotten back on his horse and looks to the inside.
Ricker driving the wheels off that number 9 car as the 17 starts to fade. 5 laps to go. 5 more circuits is all that's left for Casey Beatty. Ricker makes the move to the inside.
Jason Ricker trying to take the short way around. Kyle Goodboot keeping it wound up for now. But Jason Ricker has it inside of him on the straightaway, an inch at a time. This allows Prescott, Smith, and Eldred to close up as well as Casey Beatty continues to sail away as they close in on 3 laps to go.
Side by side fight for second. Everybody else is going to get into it here. We're going to get a little bit of mayhem for P2 on this racetrack, I do believe. Casey Beatty driving away with the win. 1.3 second lead. But it's side by side for second and a hornet's nest behind him as the pay window wide open with 2 laps to go.
Indeed, too close to call at the line there for second. Ricker on the bottom. Goodboo on the outside. Bob Eldred is taking the 5th spot from Matt Smith as Richie Murray gets into it. Coming to the white flag, it is anybody's guess from second on back.
Prescott jumps the cushion. It's a 2-car fight for second. Beatty way out in front. Ricker in on the bottom. Goodboo on the top. Prescott looking in 4th. Casey Beatty off of turn number 4. He's going to win the Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler 150 at the line. Jason Ricker's going to sneak in front of Kyle Goodboo for second. What a finish coming down to the line. Beatty gets the win. Ricker gets P2. A phenomenal finish to a great race here tonight at North Wilkesboro.
Kyle Goodboo ends up in 3rd, and behind him by just 1/100th of a second, Bob Eldred steals the 4th spot from Justin Prescott at the line. But the man of the hour is the reigning GossCars.com IACT champion, Casey Beatty out of St. Johnsbury, Vermont. Had a rough go last week at South Boston, but he bounces back in style, pulling away down the stretch to win the Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler 150.
What a race it was. While we wait for our top 3 to get in here, we'll go over the top 10 finishers. Beatty gets the win. Ricker is second. Goodboo finishing 3rd. Bob Eldred 4th. Justin Prescott 5th. Matt Smith was 6th. Richie Murray rebounds to finish 7th. Logan Powers comes back to finish 8th in this one. And Luke Shannon 9th in the 13. Good end to his day. And Aiden Young rounds out the top 10.
Indeed, as we saw Mike McCaskill cutting some donuts there in the infield. No harm, no foul, but we do have our winner, Casey Beatty, here in Victory Lane. Casey, after a very, very rough go of it at the South Boston Speedway, how does it feel to bounce back with a win here at North Wilkesboro?
Oh man, finally got the monkey off my back this season. It's definitely been a struggle. Had a few good runs, but just haven't been able to put one together.
Casey, do you think this is it's the halfway point, kind of symbolic perhaps of a second half rebound for your group? Looked pretty strong back in your championship form today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I knew we were going to be good here. Me and Kyle kind of played the off strategy, pitting early, and saved coming up through the field, and it worked in our favor.
So why did you decide to go on that off strategy? Because we kind of did have a split strategy there with some people pitting in lap 60, some waiting until later. Why did you think the early pit was the right move?
I know just with yellow flag laps not counting, kind of getting them 2 long green flag runs early in the race. I knew the tires wouldn't be the greatest. Long runs on iRacing kind of burn up the tires a little bit quicker than a short 10-lap run. So we thought our tires were going to be worse than they were. They actually weren't that bad. But we just knew we kind of wanted to go off a little bit because it's just kind of the off strategy sometimes prevails, sometimes doesn't. And we knew we wanted to ride it out back, and it worked in our favor.
Well, Casey, congratulations. Much needed and much deserved victory here today. Great race out there, and we will see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That is Casey Beatty, our winner here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. We don't have our place finisher, Jason Ricker, here. Nick, I know Jason well enough to know that it would not surprise me if he simply doesn't have a voice set up, but we will congratulate him on his second place finish nonetheless. Oh, right as I say that, here is Jason. Jason, my man, how are you?
Good. How are you?
What a run there! You were definitely close last week at South Boston. How's it feel to finally get a podium here with the IACT series?
Feels good. I don't know if you guys know what I do, but I do most of the tech inspection for Thompson Motor Speedway and act in another series. So when the tech inspector beats all the drivers, it's always gratifying.
Well, take us through this race because this was not a quiet race for you. You were spun around on the front stretch there at one point in this thing. How'd you wind your way back up and finish second?
We were just trying to get track position. I knew we were going to pit. I stopped and checked my damage after I got spun around, just kind of a checkup deal. And I didn't have any damage, so I thought we were in pretty good shape. Just bide our time. I know this track's real abrasive on tires, as it was shown at the end. I didn't save quite as good the second half as I did the first half. Lost more of that track position when everybody with newer tires. It was a little harder to pass for some reason, and I burned the right front off pretty bad. So when we were sitting third with Casey and Kyle, I thought I had something for them until about 25 to go when it was time to go, and I realized I was in trouble, kind of, sort of.
But you found your way back and with a great battle, great move there on Kyle there on the inside, and you sliced him off on the final corner, and you got the spot. So how were you able to take advantage of that?
I knew he looked really tight. I was just trying to race clean. That's what this whole series really promotes. I really didn't want to get in the side of him and move him out of the way or anything, but white flag coming to the checkers, I guess all bets are off, and I thought I had him pretty well cleared, but if not, we were gonna wreck. Like he says, last week I thought I did a good job of saving my tires, and Richie and a bunch of them showed me that it was not the case, and burned things up. So I tried pitting a little later, being patient, and like you said, I was able to get Kyle there at the end, but Casey was just too far. Casey's just really good at the iRacing stuff.
What an outstanding run for you, Jason. Nonetheless, congratulations on finally getting a podium here with IACT, and we're looking forward to seeing more of you throughout the season.
Oh, thanks, guys. Really appreciate you putting this on for us. Something to do when the winter keeps out of trouble.
That's always important. Once again, Jason Ricker, your runner-up here in the Goss Dodge Ram Chrysler 150. And now we'll go to our third place finisher, Kyle Goodboe, who was another driver who had been having a season to forget here in the virtual racing world. But Kyle, a very much needed podium finish here tonight at North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're on week 4 or 5, and this is my first top 10. So we definitely needed a turnaround to finish out strong.
You guys had a really good run going all throughout this race. Seems like you and Casey were kind of tied at the hip there. What at the end of this race, he was able to get away from you. Is there anything you would have done differently to get him? So the roles might have been reversed there, or was he just that fast?
I think part of it's just he's just that fast. He's really good on iRacing and in real life for that. But I think if I could have done anything different, I could have saved a little bit more tire because we were really tight at the end of that, and it was really tight, and I did not like it.
Yeah, it got really hairy there at the end with Ricker on you, but also Eldred, Prescott, everyone else breathing down you at the end of the neck. How did you manage to hold on for third?
Yeah, we were kind of just driving the heck out of it. I mean, that's all I really could have done there in the last 25 laps when it was go time, and just make them pick the bottom, because I felt like if I picked the bottom, I was going to be way too tight. So if I just managed on the top, I would have been fine, and that's kind of what Ricky and I were dealing with that last 10 or so laps. And luckily, he raced me clean, I raced him clean, and we had a lot of fun there those last 10 so laps, whatever it was, and able to come home 1, 2, 3 with the whole RKM crew is pretty sweet. Also, can't thank them enough. Ryan for filling the set this week, and all you guys for putting this stuff on. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun tonight.
Well, Kyle, congratulations. Like Michael said, much needed run for you for you at this point in the year, and good to see you back up front. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All right, Michael, that about wraps up our coverage for tonight's Goss Dodge Chrysler Ram 150 at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Pretty good race. What do we got next week?
We are heading to one of the familiar haunts of the real world Milton Cat American Canadian Tour, the Oxford Plains Speedway, up in virtual Oxford, Maine, for 125 laps of action next Monday, February 17th. Again, we will go live at approximately 8 o'clock here on the American Canadian Tour YouTube outlet. Now, Oxford last year had 2 visits there, and the second one put on one of the best races of the season, I thought, Nick. So I'm looking forward to getting back there and opening the second half of the GossCars.com IACT Chase for 2025.
Should be a lot of fun. Second half, like you said, starts next week. So don't want to miss it. Everybody be there. ACT YouTube right here. Same place on YouTube. Different virtual track. Same virtual race car drivers. Congratulations again to Casey Beatty for getting his first win of his title defense here in 2025, as well as Jason Ricker and Kyle Goodboe are top 3 tonight. We will see everybody from Oxford Plains Speedway next Monday night. Like you said, Michael, 8 o'clock p.m. right here on the ACT YouTube. But for now, for Michael Streinsberg, I am Nick Mumley signing off from North Wilkesboro